This is WFYI News Now. It's March 12th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, the city of Fishers is considering a new housing proposal. A project to transform the old city hall is now much more expensive than first estimated. Indiana lawmakers consider a boost in state funding for deputy prosecutors and public defenders. And health experts say pregnancy care centers provide misleading information as a resolution supporting them moves through the state legislature.
These words in our legislative record are dangerous, and the millions of dollars that are going towards these organizations are unchecked money.
Those stories are coming up. But first, as part of our continuing coverage on immigrants in communities like Indianapolis, WFYI's Zach Castle looks at who fled 4 countries to live here.
The U.S. government has several temporary protections for people fleeing their home country, including refugees. Some are expected to leave when those programs expire, while others that are granted other statuses may stay longer. Trump recently canceled certain other programs for immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, including one ending in April. There isn't state or local data on how many people are covered by these programs available, but the U.S. Census Bureau does estimate the total foreign-born population by country of origin. There are only about 9,300 foreign-born people from these 4 countries in Marion County, and over 22,000 statewide. In both cases, that's under 1% of the total population. I'm Zach Castle.
For more on local immigrant communities, including a database of the foreign-born population of Indiana by country of origin, go to wfyi.org/news. The city of Fishers is considering a new housing proposal. If enacted later this year, it would affect landlords, renters, homeowners, and neighborhoods. The ordinance is two-pronged. Landlords and companies who want to lease out units would be required to register with the city. Jordan Alexander is the mayor's chief of staff. She said in a Monday meeting that some information will be public.
That's our intent. If we do move forward with this ordinance, that we would have an entire page dedicated to the registry and information around the registry.
The registry would track landlords and units. Then there's the rental cap.
The other piece of this is the rental permit cap. And this essentially would implement a cap of 10% at the subdivision level.
The city will reject registrations in neighborhoods that already meet the cap. Landlords who fail to register or violate housing policy would be subject to fines. The city pointed to a troubling trend of out-of-state investor owners buying up properties. Some homeowners worried about perceived neighborhood decline with too many rentals. Others have expressed concern that the measure will exclude people who want to live in Fishers. Fishers will hold a public comment period before voting in April. The city hopes the ordinance will be passed by summer and go into effect next year. A signature project that would transform Old City Hall into a museum with an adjoined mixed-use skyscraper is much more expensive than first estimated. WFYI's Jill Sheridan reports the city is set to loan the developer about $66 million for the build.
When the renovation of the historic building was announced in 2023, it was estimated to cost around $140 million. Now that price has soared to nearly $250 million. Representatives from developer TWG say the increase is due to a hike in construction costs and interest rates. A city-county council committee voted in favor of the investment at a recent meeting. Councilor Jared Evans says the loan is a tool that will benefit all of Indianapolis in the long run.
To help a developer complete a project which is going to add tax revenue to the base to be used for other services that otherwise would not happen without the tool.
City funding from a TIF district and other local and state assistance tops $50 million for the project. If approved by the full council next month, it could break ground in July. I'm Jill Sheridan.
Indiana's attorney shortage is hitting prosecutor and public defender offices particularly hard. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports lawmakers want to boost state funding for deputy prosecutors and public defenders.
The average salary for a full-time deputy prosecutor in Indiana is about $89,000 a year. That's less than the average starting salary for private sector attorneys. Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council's Courtney Curtis says experienced prosecutors are leaving.
So we lose mentors, we lose trainers, we lose core competency. Our average level of experience over the past decade has, over all 793 attorneys that we have, is 4 years. We're not bringing in enough new ones.
A House bill would see the state provide funding to counties to pay for half the salary of a deputy prosecutor, making 55% of the elected prosecutor's salary. The measure would also increase state reimbursement for public defenders. Its total cost would be nearly $20 million a year. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
And for our final story today, a resolution strongly supporting the work of Indiana's pregnancy care centers is moving through the state legislature. But Side Effects Public Media's Ben Thorpe reports some health experts worry it further legitimizes these centers, which they say provide misleading information.
Pregnancy care centers counsel pregnant women against abortion. They may also provide limited services such as an ultrasound. But some medical groups say the centers rely on misinformation. Dr. Tracy Wilkinson is with the public health advocacy group Good Trouble Coalition.
These words in our legislative record are dangerous. And the millions of dollars that are going towards these organizations are unchecked money.
Republican Senator Jeff Rotz, who introduced the resolution, called concerns largely subjective.
These pregnancy centers are designed essentially as volunteers to help young ladies make decisions.
The resolution is non-binding and doesn't change state law. It's currently before the full Senate. I'm Ben Thorpe.
And that's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.